Hey y'all, it's Katie and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. And today I wanted to share and compare two different types of neon liquid liners that are available on the market, one indie and one more mainstream, in that you can get it at the drugstore, Target, that sort of thing. And share with you guys the similarities and differences and just let you guys be able to see on camera as I apply them to my eyes. Hopefully this video will help you determine which one is worth buying, which one's worth picking up and trying. And the two different liners that we're going to be battling against each other today is Profusion's Bright Lights UV Neon Liner, and that's going to be going against the JD Glow Cosmetics Liquid Gel Liner. Both of these came out over the summer, last summer, and this is still available, but the Profusion ones were actually limited edition. However, I do know that they're coming back, hopefully I think until the end of summer, so that's why I figured I would go ahead and do this video now. Maybe if you were trying to determine which one you should get the more limited edition one that is cheaper, or go with the indie one that you can pick up, you know, multiples of later on in the future, that sort of thing. Hopefully this video will answer some questions and again just be able to be helpful for you guys to see them applied on camera. So yeah, before we dive in, I'd love to know which one you think I have on which eye. So go ahead and pause the video right now and leave in the comments which eye do you think I have the Profusion one on, which eye do you think I have the JD Glow one on, or if you can't see a difference between either of these eyes, you think they both look identical, let me know that down below. But yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and do my Instagram shout for today, and then we can just go ahead and get into applying these on my eyes, and then at the very end, after I put them on my eyes, we'll come back right here and we'll kind of go through the pros and cons really quickly, and I'll just share with you guys my overall thoughts and opinions on both of these and which one reigns supreme in my eyes. Before we do that though, let's go ahead and do my Instagram shout out for today. And for today, I'm going to be highlighting this commenter from my most recent Instagram post. They left this really sweet comment and it just stood out to me and I really do appreciate it. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to comment on my posts over on Instagram. I really do appreciate it. And you are my Instagram shout out for today. Okay, so just so you guys know, I don't think I said in the beginning, but this is JD Glow's Liquid Gel Liner in the shade Neon Orange, and then the Profusion Bright Lights UV Neon Liner in the shade Strobe. So those are the two I'm going to do. I'm going to do the JD Glow on my left eye and then the Profusion on my right. Let's go ahead and do the JD Glow first. Now the JD Glow does have a little thing in there to shake it up. I like to spend some time really shaking it up to make sure I'm giving this formula the best chance possible. And now I'm going to make sure I'm in focus, stay really still, and we're gonna wing it out with this. And I'm not gonna use my, or should I use my vamp stamp just so you guys can see? I'm not gonna use my vamp stamp. We're gonna wing it out, really wing it out, just wing it. The bristles on this brush are so hard. I think that's my biggest critique with this, is that the bristles are stiff and they're like pokey and hard, so they're not pleasant to use. I'm dipping it back in just to get a nice fresh, because I feel like this dries quickly. Okay, so there is the first layer, 3 dips in, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see. I'm going to go ahead and get really up close and do a lay over here, but it's really crackly and uneven and dull. I mean, it's bright, yes, but there is a dullness to the brightness, and you'll see it more when we go to the next side. So I'm going to now go back in with the second layer. Okay, so here's where we are going. I still don't love it, but from all the times that I've used this formula, I know that's as good as it's gonna get. I'm just taking off the neon liner from my lashes as much as I can, because I don't like it to be all stuck on my lashes. But there is that. Again, I will stick a close-up so you guys can see it says 2 layers. I think it looks fine from far away, but it's the up close, and just, I mean, not even up close. I feel like if you are talking to me just standing a regular distance away, you would be able to see how chunky and uneven this looks, and that's what bothers me. And maybe that's my fault in just having unrealistic expectations. I think it looks fine, but it's not my preferred look when it comes to, you know, a neon graphic liner. Okay, now Profusion is up. It does not have anything inside it. I can shake it and I don't hear anything, but I typically tend to, with my liquid liners, especially when they're in the kind of dip in, I tend to shake it up just to get the formula all kind of mixing in. The brush on here is a whole lot thinner, or not thinner, a whole lot more just bendable, and also just feels nicer when you're going across your eyes. It's not that stiff brush that the JD Glow has. So let's line it and see how this goes. Let me see if I can get the lines right. Okay, this is my third dip, though I'm taking a lot of it off because I feel like I don't need a whole lot of new product, but the brush was getting a little dry and I want it to be crisp up here, so I did dip it in a third time. Probably should have switched out my lens just so you guys could see, because I feel like this lens only focuses on the one center spot and everything else is softened. But hopefully you guys can see the angle's way off, so yay for that. I might be able to fix it a little bit. I'm going to take this side up a little bit, but there is just one coat, two coats, and I think right away, I think you can see the difference. Let me move my light away. But I think you're able to see like there's a difference in brightness between these two, and I'll go ahead and stick up close-ups of my Profusion side and just show you guys the first one coat. I'm not like 100% happy with it because there is a level of thickness and chunkiness to it as well. I feel like the first coat of the Profusion one kind of looks like the two coats of the JD Glow one, except that the Profusion side is just more of a bright, vibrant type of neon orange. I definitely feel like having to do two coats with the Profusion side is a little unnecessary, just because I feel like for the most part I like how everything looks. There's a little bit of a chunky issue here where I feel like there's a little bit of patchiness, so I'm just gonna go back over there and do what I would do if I was using this, you know, to do a neon wing liner, and I would just kind of spot check, I guess you could say, where I needed it. And I think there's a little bit of a bunch or like a line here. That's a hair that I should have picked before this. It's just accentuating it. At least I can see it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the video, but there's definitely a hair that got caught up and laid down in this formula that's making it look all chunky. Or just bumpy, I guess. Anyway, I'm just gonna try to go back in here and make it a little bit longer to kind of match the other side, because I feel like it definitely came out and up a little bit. Okay, we're just gonna call that good. I feel like it's not, you know, they're not perfectly even, but it's not the purpose of this video. They can be uneven. Anyway, as I get this, the neon liner out of my lashes, I'm gonna go ahead and stick up close-up so you guys can see. I like how intense and vibrant the neonness of the oranges with the Profusion side, but in comparison to the JD Glow side, it's also a lot like more cracky and dry. I don't know if that's because it's a lot more intense and vibrant, and therefore that's why it's more cracky and dry, but it's definitely something that I noticed. There's just a lot more crackiness with the Profusion side. I can say throughout the day, as the day goes on, the JD Glow side does get very crackly as the day progresses, but the Profusion side tends to stay exactly the same throughout the day, so that is, again, a little bit of a difference between formulas. So anyway, at this point, I was just going to kind of close it out, but let me go ahead. I'm going to put a little bit of neonness in my cut crease here, because I do tend to like to do that. I don't tend to do both of them at the same time, but hey, this is a video comparing the two. I feel like this would be a good comparison to have if you're someone who doesn't do like a full wing, but you like the line. That way you can see the formula difference between creating a line, because I do think they're very different there. So anyway, let's go ahead and do it. We'll do with the Profusion side since I'm over here, but I'm just going to create a line from about here to the middle. Going back in, because I do think doing lines, it's important to have a lot on the tip. Just a nice thin line and nothing crazy. But yeah, that, I guess I went in 3 times, but it's again only to get the teeniest amount on the tip, because I didn't want it a big line so you can't get a lot of product on the tip or you'll get a big blob. So I just got the tiniest bit on the tip, drew, and I had to do that 3 times to get that line that you see there. So I'm letting it dry a minute. That's why I'm kind of looking down. I'm gonna let this dry and then we'll flip around and do the other side. Wiping off most on the side, but getting it right on the tip. I totally messed up that angle. Wow. What you gonna do? But anyway, there is definitely a line there where, because this bristle is so stiff, there's a line of like empty space where the bristles touch down. So I'm gonna try to fill that in and make it a little bit more intense like it is on this side. We're gonna call that good because I feel like I'm just making the line thicker than I want it to be. That's fine, not too bad. This is also a lot drier than the Profusion side, so I feel like it's already pretty darn dry. I feel comfortable opening my eyes and whatnot. But yeah, there it is. Let me go ahead and do close-up so you guys can see the two sides, but I think you guys can also see, it was just easier for me to get a smaller line and a more consistent and thin and not chunky and textured looking line with the Profusion side as opposed to the JD Glow side. The JD Glow side, it's just, it got thicker because I was trying to fill in that line where the hard bristles kind of separates the gel formula. And then also too, I feel like the JD Glow side is just a lot less intense and not as neon as the Profusion side. Alright, so here's the finished look with some mascara that I'm not really a fan of this mascara, so I feel like it just doesn't do my lashes any favor. But anyway, here it is. I'll go ahead and stick up close up so you guys can see my eyes, and I'll use my different lens, so hopefully maybe, you know, things won't be as fuzzy because the my other lens really focuses on that center point and everything around it is kind of softened or blurred. But overall, I feel like initially when you just look on in person, I don't know if this is the case on camera, I'm gonna have to look at the camera after I finish recording, but in person, there's definitely such a significant difference in the brightness of these two liners. The Profusion one just screams and pops out as being so much more intense, so much more vibrant. Even just that thin line in my crease, doing the half cut crease, is a lot more intense and pops as being neon as opposed to the JD Glow. Just has a softness, a dullness, I guess, to the look or to the color that maybe isn't super noticeable if you're just using that liner and have nothing else on your eyes, but comparing it to a color that's exactly the same in a different formula, it gets outshined easily in my opinion. But moving past that to application, I feel like there's two different pros and cons depending on what you're doing with the liner. If you are doing a wing, I feel like as much trouble as the JD Glow side is and having to double layer and all that, it doesn't get quite as cracky and thick as the Profusion side. However, if we're talking about the line I put above my cut crease and doing that little pop of neon liner there, I hands down prefer the Profusion side. It was a lot easier to apply, it was a lot easier to get a really thin line, and it was a lot easier to get that bright pop of color than with the JD Glow side. On the JD Glow side, I had to do 2 or 3 layers. The line kept getting thick because the brush is so stiff, and it's so stiff that it pushes a product around the brush instead of laying it down, and that creates a thicker line. And then also too, when you really get up close, you see all those lines that I just couldn't hide because the brush is just so stiff and problematic. So depends on what you're looking for. For me personally, if I'm wanting to do a wing liner, I'll probably pick the JD Glow side. Also too, it feels more comfortable. Like when I'm opening my eyes, I can feel the cakiness of the Profusion side a whole lot more than I can the JD Glow side. The JD Glow side, maybe a tinge little sticky, but honestly not that bad, whereas the Profusion side, I feel it significantly. It's nothing uncomfortable and painful, but I do feel it. However, if I'm wanting to grab something to just do that pop of neonness, and I would like me personally, I like a really thin line and a really intense color, I hands down would pick the Profusion one because it was so much easier to get, and also too with longevity for the Profusion one in my cut crease, it stays really well all day, maybe a little bit crackly, but nothing significant. So really for this, it comes down to what I'm wanting to do. And as I said, I tend to prefer to just do the pop of neon. I don't tend to wing it out with the neon. So when I'm thinking about using neon liners, for me personally, the Profusion ones wins out because I like adding that pop, and it's so much easier to get with Profusion than the JD Glow Cosmetics one. And I have heard some people say, well, like, can you just use a different liner, like an actual brush to apply this one, since the brush on this is so terrible? But you really can't, because the formula of this is what makes it so tricky. Yes, the formula of this and the brush itself makes it 10 times trickier, but still, the gel formula is so chunky. That's a weird way to describe it, but it's a very chunky formula where even if I used a brush to try and apply it, it still gave that look of the product wanting to go on either side of the brush instead of going where the brush laid it, if that makes any sense. So those are the pros and cons that I see, and maybe if you don't care about the brush, and if you don't care about having to kind of go over and smooth it out so it doesn't look so chunky and stripey and weird, maybe that won't bother you, but for me, it's personally a bother. I really rarely use this because it's such a bother, but also too, keep in mind, I'm someone who rarely does anything other than a pop of neon, either on the inside, on the outside. I don't really do full wing neon liners much. So with that in mind, since what I tend to prefer to do with neon liners is a pop, that's why I prefer the Profusion one. And honestly, when it comes to neon pops, I really do prefer water activated liners. Like, I have so many of them now. They're absolutely fantastic. I have some from Midas and Yvette. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful, informative, whatever the case is. And let me know your thoughts down below. Which side do you like more? Which line, which liquid liner do you like more? Profusion, JD Glow Cosmetics? I'd love to hear that down below in the comments. But yeah, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up on your way out, as it helps me in the whole YouTube algorithm. And per usual, if you want to stay connected with me and get daily-ish content, I'm over on Instagram and I upload there about every day. I usually miss a couple here and there throughout the week, but I try to post at least 6 days a week. That's always my goal. But yeah, you can check me out over there on LadyKD92. And with all that said, I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye guys.